by to 7 rows deep.
And rolling up to the start-finish line. It looks like Asher going a little bit off track as the inside.
As they can. Saber making an amazing dive into turn 1. And electroshocks off. Eggful gets the move.
But MNU trying to take a move.
Big contact from 5 different punches.
Big incident with Snowdog, our leader.
As we head into turn row, it's a big crash. It's a big crash between the two title contenders.
The halfway round of the Hypercar Championship returns us to the Arabian Desert as we get ready to race at the Lusail International Circuit in Qatar. Hey everyone, I'm Kady Fox, alongside MNU in the broadcast booth, with Denak providing us with our broadcast presentation for today. Lots of mid and high speed sections here, not a lot of super clear overtaking opportunities, so should be a good technical challenge for our Hypercar drivers as we are getting set for qualifying today. How are you today, MNU?
I am good, except that it's another track I don't especially like. However, I'm sure it will provide for very good racing and maybe some pit stop shenanigans again, I hope, because last race was quite eventful.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't there. I'm returning to the booth for this round. Thank you so much to Azure for filling in for me on our Coda round. But yeah, I from what I heard, it was a lot of people doing no stops, which is very funny. I don't think that's probably going to work here, but given the fact that you're on throttle for quite a bit of it, and that tends to use fuel in your car. As we're taking a look at RK, our sort of early championship frontrunner here, just taking laps around for the last 10 minutes of our little practice session here. We're going to be spinning up qualifying in just a little bit, but definitely unfamiliar territory again for a lot of our drivers, given that this circuit does not feature particularly prominently in very many sims. So it's definitely, I think, at least for some of them, unless they've again driven an F1 game, or a pretty recent F1 game at that, they might not be super familiar with the way that things go around here. So there's a yellow DHL board spinning off there. Hopefully we won't get too many of those spinning off the track come race time. But do you have any experience with this track at all, MNU?
I think I've done one race in the LMP2s on this track. It's quite a confusing track because there's so many fast corners here and there. You get basically easily lost on track. It doesn't make any sense. It feels like it feels like a maze basically. There's like one mid-low speed corner, which is turn 6. But otherwise, you just go left and right, like trail braking on every corner. It doesn't make any sense.
It does, and it's really flat too, which I think kind of contributes to the feeling of like getting lost a little bit around here sometimes. Lots of sections feel a bit samey, but I feel like once you kind of get your bearings around here, it gets a little bit better. You can start to find a rhythm through a lot of the mid and high speed stuff. Just for a little bit of background here on Lusail, as we are following Jordan Johnson around in the SC63, that wonderful looking Lamborghini hypercar. Lusail opened in 2004. It was originally designed to host MotoGP. That was the first event that it hosted, and I think we can can all completely tell. It very much has a motorcycle track profile, which when we say that, we're talking about the fact that a lot of these sections around here, as you'll see on this onboard, it's a lot of just really sort of wide mid-speed and high-speed sweepers, which makes it really nice to race in motorcycles on 2 wheels. But it does make it a little bit tough on 4 wheels sometimes, especially when you're trying to follow closely through these really high-speed sections here. But regardless, it did begin hosting the Qatar Grand Prix in 2021, and then the World Endurance Championship came in 2024. So very recent track for this particular series. It now hosts the season opener of WEC, as we are getting ready for our full course yellow practice here at the 5-minute mark at our practice. Jordan slowing right down to the pit speed limit. Maybe took a little bit more time than you might want to for the race. You do have to be at the speed limit when you get there, so it is important to make sure that you don't get any penalties there. But let's say 5.4 kilometers, 3.4 miles, 16 corners around here. Again, lots of right angles, lots of high-speed sweepers. Makes it really difficult to find a place to overtake. Most common place should, as always, be turn 1. And some drivers may, if they're feeling themselves, they might look for something into the hairpin in turn 10. So take a look there. And definitely in the final corner as well, if they can stay close. So good times for qualifying should be around the minute 40 mark. And we'll see how everybody's getting to grips. It's been a lot of practice, I think, for a lot of these drivers, just trying to figure out the best way around here. There's a lot of sort of compromised exits that you need to take. So it'll be tough.
There might be a few drivers today on the top of the board, a few drivers that we're not used to see. I'm not going to say Fez Fox, because Fez is actually a fast driver in the hypercars. But Niklas Zahn, which is now P2 at the moment, and Eduardo Alvarez, which I don't think you've seen already, Kady, but it's a new driver, basically, that tried to join for the first race, but didn't manage to join due to LMU shenanigans. But then joined for the round 2, and they were fast. Like, they were battling with RK at many points, especially in qualifying, because there was a little bit of an oopsie during the race. But I guess you can expect quite a few new drivers on top of the grid. There's also Stacey Scott that just registered for this series, for this round, and I think the next rounds as well. She's for now she's just P18 because she just joined their server. So do you think the track is going to provide good racing? I know it usually goes well with if you have GT3s in your session, but it's not multi-class. How do you think it's going to go?
I mean, we'll see. I again have not seen a whole lot of racing around Qatar. A little bit in the World Endurance Championship. I missed the sort of inaugural round for this one, but I did catch a little bit of the 2025 one in real life. We had a little bit of and as we get Fez going off into the gravel there, those gravel sections, we'll be talking about them throughout. I think a little bit of a bump there between them and the Toyota, but both of them staying on track. I think we're gonna just have a quick review of the points here as we are winding down practice. We've had sort of enough rounds here that we have some pretty clear front runners towards the top of our standings here. RK, of course, with that one win and both podiums in the first 2 rounds of this series, is on top with 47 points. Just a few points behind, 4 points behind, is Luis Alfonso in the GR010, the Toyota there. Secured the win at Coda, so definitely been performing well recently. We'll see if they're able to keep it up. Sarah Van Fiepeland in the Porsche 963, our first Porsche on the list here, up in third with 33 points, has been performing pretty well in the last couple of rounds here. Parker Olsen and Niklas Zahn both in the 49Ps, rounding out 4th and 5th. Parker tied with Sarah for that third podium position there. So we'll see how that battle evolves throughout this race today. I'm sure they'll be going at it quite aggressively to try to make sure that they can secure that position. Tyler Van Beek in P6 with that Isara Frashini, the only one on the grid, if I am remembering correctly. Has got 26 points, dropped a place from the previous round, is looking to rebound in this race here. Adrian Newt 1 point behind in the Alpine A424, up 2 places from where they were on the standings after the first round. Vossi in the other Porsche up in P8 with 23 points, and just behind is Jordan with P22 in the Lamborghini with that particularly disastrous Bahrain round, but was able to rebound in Coda. So they'll be looking to continue their form into this one. Alexander Van de Voon in P10 in the other Alpine with 20 points, and with 17 points right behind is Fabio Sal. Chris in P12, Fez in P13, Sierra P14, Eduardo P15, and Callan Mooney down there in 16th. Dropped quite a few places from the first round. Blade Wolf in the Peugeot there is P17 with 10 points. And Camille, Jesper, and Kvik de Vries are rounding out our leaderboard with 8, 7, and 7 points respectively. So pretty tight field still, even though we've had quite a shakeup with especially a lot of the no stops in the previous race. Did a lot to shake up the order around here. So it's really kind of still anyone's at the moment. We'll see how this race develops.
We also had a few penalties going on the last race. So for Coda, we had Parker Olson that managed to get 5 seconds, so 1 driver warning point. Niklas Zahn, which also got 5 seconds, and then we have Fury April with 10 seconds, so 2 driver warning points, and then Noah Stewart with also 10 seconds, which is also 2 driver warning points. As we are going to go onto the qualifying session that just started, as we see Fez Fox rumbling down the main straight.
Yeah, definitely where we're going to see most of the moves. If I'm being quite honest, we do have a lot of folks in the pits at the moment. I think we're probably expecting somewhere in the realm of 17 to 19 drivers for this one. It's definitely going to be a little bit of a lower participation round than a lot of our races have been previously. I think it's mostly because folks, this isn't their favorite track sometimes, and so I've opted to choose it as their drop round for this series. Got a big old group here as we got Fez sort of leading a bit of a train here through Sector 2 at the moment. We'll get you on with a lap guide once we get started with qualifying. But they got 30 minutes once again. Everybody's got 30 minutes, and everybody's out on track at once. We'll see who ends up being on top. Fez is in a really good position at the front of this pack at the moment, so has got nice clear air and is going to be able to whip that Hertz Cadillac around as they are coming through Sector 3 at the moment, getting ready for their flying lap.
I still don't recognize the corners. I'm sorry. It's still going left and right. I don't recognize it. It's not.
You're going left. You're going right.
Yeah.
This is the last one, so there you go. As we're getting onto the main straight for our opening lap, let's see if I can give a decent rundown of this one. So we're heading on down the main straight at the moment, pretty long main straight on this one. You're looking for that second green Rolex board on the right. You're hard on the brakes, down to second gear. It's a wide exit here, so you want to be really nice and smooth on the power, and then you're immediately over to the right for turn 2. Braking again, just nice quick dip as the curbing begins. You want to really hook your left tires over the curb into the orange bit to open up the exit, flat through 3, and then you're on down to turn 4. You're braking sort of between these 2 yellow boards here. Hard again. This is the beginning of these gravel sections here, so you want to aim for the gravel, but definitely try not to hit it. A little bit of a correction there from Fez, but manages to get it set up for the hairpin here with turn 10. You saw that bump there on the exit. I think it might have caught out Fez a bit as well. So definitely you want to watch for that bump on the apex. It'll definitely catch you out if you're not ready for it. You sort of want to compromise the exit here to make sure that you're following this curve all the way around to get set up for turn 9 here. Quick dab into 4th, keep the car settled, and then you're on down through this section here. You want to sort of point the car towards that access road and then brake right before it. Red modal board on the left here, that last one, as we're heading into Sector 3, you're kind of playing with the throttle all the way through here, just trying not to let the car understeer into 5th, into 4th. For this last bit here, and then sort of hard on the brakes on that Michelin board. Down to 3rd, you can take that in 4th as well. Some drivers opt for 3rd for the extra rotation. And then the final corner here between those last 2 boards, down all the way down to 2nd, and missed the exit a little bit here, but or missed the apex a little bit, I should say. But you definitely also want to be careful on the exit for the final corner, because it's very, very tempting to use all of that runoff that you've got there. One of the few places on the track that doesn't have one of those tiny little gravel traps off to the exit, so it is very tempting to take more of it. But you definitely don't want to get your lap invalidated. Looked pretty tidy from Fez there. That was a 41.3, so about what we were expecting in terms of our sort of good times around here. And obviously, if the tires are still warming up, we'll see those times drop.
I mean, just right as you said that, we see Sierra Thomas getting P3, and then Eduardo Alvarez P2, and then Luis Alfonso, as we are used, getting P1. Luis Alfonso, who did kind of a good move last race. It was one of the drivers that didn't pit during the race on Kota, and basically got him P1 by just not pitting. Luis Alfonso winning by doing nothing. Well, not by doing nothing. It's still race. It still did a pretty good race, but it's quite interesting to see how many strategies you can come up during the race and also beforehand, and just manage to get the first position by just lift and coasting through all the corners and stuff like that. It's very interesting, especially those hypercars.
Yeah, absolutely. Just say no. Just don't pit. The car can't run out of fuel without your consent. So I don't think that's going to work here, to be clear. I really don't. I think they're definitely going to have to pit. I think the question will probably be whether folks will opt for a little bit of a different tire strategy here. We were kind of talking before we went live today that this circuit is incredibly punishing on the left side tires, given that this is kind of turn right stadium, and especially sort of in the last part of the lap, that sort of triple apex right hander is absolutely brutal on especially the front right, or the front left, I should say. So I've seen some drivers on the practice server opt for when they're on race pace. Everybody is on full mediums right now. But I've seen some drivers opt for, when they're going for sort of race stints, the hard left side tires. I actually do really like that around this circuit. I think it's probably going to be a really good move. You might be suffering a lot from understeer, especially sort of in the first parts of this race through those high speed corners. But sort of as the race settles down, I think they're probably going to be enjoying a little bit more grip compared to the folks that are running all mediums. But again, this is qualifying, so everybody's just out there on a full set of mediums and giving it all they can.
Especially since you don't have the choice on this track, and we had the same thing happening on Bahrain. There's no wait, actually, does the hypercars have softs? I'm sure they have softs, but no one uses them.
They have softs, I think, only at a couple of different tracks. I think Le Mans is one of them, but yeah, usually it's just the two different options for dry weather tires around here, and then of course the one wet tire, which we won't need here as we're in the desert, and also because we control the weather as always, and we've decided that it will be dry. So
yeah, especially like this race is supposed to be kind of hot. I mean, hot by my standards, by my Belgian standards. It's going to be 32 degrees Celsius, which is, ambient. It's very hot, but especially on track, I think the mediums will be quite hot from all the racing, especially when the track will be very much saturated with the rubber and all.
Yeah, things will speed up for sure. We already have our first 40, by the way, our 42nd time from Luis Alfonso in the GR010, putting up a 40.9. So that's a pretty strong time. We'll see how things continue to develop. It's Jordan Johnson down in 8th has not put up a fantastic time yet. Neither has Newt. I'm sure they're probably still warming up a bit. RK has not set a time at all and is currently out there on a purple sector 1. So we'll be following this pretty closely, but is up about a 10th and a half compared to that time that Luis Alfonso just put up. So we may see another RK pole here, and it's looking more and more likely, as that was a good 4/10 up in the second sector. So just a few more corners to go here through this sector 3. That Ferrari looking really, really planted around here, which is definitely what you want around this circuit. You don't want the car to be really nervous, especially in the high-speed stuff, as that's gonna sort of evaporate your confidence. We'll see what this looks like as RK is crossing the line. And that is up into the first position. That is a good second ahead of Luis Alfonso's time. That's a 39.8. So very, very strong time already from RK.
That is a very solid pole position. I mean, temporary pole position, because, well, there's still 20 minutes of qualifying going on at the moment. As we see Parker Olsen, he is P4 at the moment. As we see another Ferrari out of the track. I think that just was RK's Ferrari, or it was red. I think it was red. I'm not sure. Anyways, as we see Parker Olsen trying to go and maybe beat RK's time. I'm not sure he's gonna be able anyways, because it's like 1 whole second. It's so fast. I didn't even know a 39 here was possible, to be fair. It's wow.
I mean, only 2/10 off of that sector 1 time, but I think around here where a lot of drivers tend to lose the time is around sector 3, as Luis Alfonso was not able to get the car hooked in there, is going to opt to restart that lap. Definitely, if the car starts kind of snapping through the slower speed stuff, there's kind of nothing you can do around here. You sort of have to just reset and try again. But yeah, it was looking like a pretty strong lap there from Parker. We'll see how it develops if and when they cross the line on that one. Newt also about 3/10 off. That's a bit of an improvement actually through the second sector. So that is about less than 2/10 off of that pole time. So at the moment, this is on pace to be good for P2. We'll see how that looks as they go through the final corner here. Looked like a pretty decent exit. Definitely want to stay on the right side of that white line there. And that's a pretty strong lap. That's a 40.9, so just about enough to get them up into P3, just less than a 10th off of Luis Alfonso's time in P2. So Parker will go around again. And definitely, as I was saying, drivers losing a lot of time in that sector 3. I think it all really comes down to the confidence, whether you're really feeling the car through the high speed stuff, and it's feeling planted enough that you're able to get on the power without understeering.
Especially on turn 12, 13, and 14, you see those 3 corners. That kind of looks like a big fast corner, but it's in fact 3 separate corners with 3 apexes, and so you have to take those really precisely. You have to do a doctorate in driving to kind of get those corner rights. As we see Sarah starting her lap, so going into the first few corners. But yeah, no, I kind of get the sector 3 thing. It's really something I kind of don't get, because it's like it kind of is a track that follows a few corners and then try to break the flow, which is weird. It's something. It breaks the flow too easily for me. I kind of don't get the corners.
Yeah, that's really fair. I mean, I think a lot of these corners in sectors 1 and 2 have, really clearly defined braking points, and it's fairly intuitive in that way. Sector 3 tends to be very vibes based. just like how the car is feeling in terms of the temperature of the tires and how worn they are, and the setup of the car, how happy your rear end tends to be, whether it's happy as in planted or happy as in going all over the place. As Sarah's tackling that section at the moment, looks pretty good in the Porsche 963. Not a car that's particularly well known for being fantastic on the brakes, but thankfully through that high-speed section you're not braking at all. Definitely caught more of the gravel than she wanted to in that last bit there, so that will slow her down just a little bit. It looks like she's going to be quite a ways adrift of the target time here, and in fact is just going to go back into the pits and opt for a fresh set and a fresh run.
So RK at the moment is in the pit lane, out of the car. He's doing a Sebastian Vettel. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to do his qualifying anymore because he knows.
I set one and I'm good.
Yes. I mean, with a 39.8. I mean, I kind of get it. You know, you don't have to do more laps anymore, but it's still like, you know, you have to do the nerves to do this. It's quite wow. It's quite something. As we see Blade Wolf. As we see Blade Wolf in the only few Peugeots. I think there's only 2 Peugeots racing for this race. I think there was someone who wanted to switch to the Peugeot, as I saw someone talking about that today, because the Peugeot was drifting in the corners. That is something to say. I want to drive the Peugeot because it drifts into the corners. I know the Peugeot is cool looking and all, but it's not a drift race, a drift event. I don't think that's how it works, especially with the hot track.
It is probably my favorite out of the LMHs, the Le Mans hypercars, as opposed to the LMDHs. Just also because of the way that it looks, and definitely not because I have a Lego set of the wingless version in my room. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this one is the winged version, so a little bit better planted in the rear. I can't imagine trying to go through 12, 13, and 14 without a rear wing. That seems precarious to say the least. So I'm sure that this version will be a little bit better around this track, as I still don't think that they've set a time at the moment, but they have, but it's quite slow. But yeah, again, RK knows what they've done, and just wants to chill out in the pit lane before the end. Is actually going back out right now. We'll see if they can improve. I guess it's really kind of just for bragging rights at the moment, because I honestly don't think anybody else is going to be able to touch a 39 the way that things look right now. In fact, it kind of looks like most everybody except for the top 5 or so hasn't really even been able to touch a minute 40. So.
I think RK was watching the stream and heard me saying, "Oh, he's staying in the pits. Look at him," and then just went out of the pits to prove something. Hello RK, if you see that. Hello. As we see, Niklas Zahn taking third, back out of Parker also, which is now in P4. Quite a fast lap, but still. It's getting a little bit faster. I think RK slowly getting the stress of seeing Luis Alfonso getting closer and closer, because Luis Alfonso did a 140.3. So it's getting a little bit closer for Robbie Kelly, but it it's getting a little bit stressed. He knows he's got to do something, otherwise he's gonna lose that pole position. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's just bragging rights, as you said. Just getting faster,
Exactly. Under half a second now for Luis Alfonso, and for Niklas Zahn, that was a purple sector 3. So definitely one to watch out for in the battle for pole here. If they can just hook up those first 2 sectors, I think they've got a really decent shot at it. We'll see how RK continues to do around here. In fact, that's actually a different purple sector 3 now from Eduardo Alvarez. In fact, up there in P5, so that's going to be good as well. And yeah, I think given that we're seeing everybody. That was a bit of a moment there between those two cars. Eduardo having to get out of the way of them a little bit, or in fact, the other two having to get out of the way of Eduardo there. So definitely, I think Adrian, you're just going to have to restart this lap in the E-Shark Alpine. But yeah, I think we're sort of seeing evidence of the track getting faster, and it's going to be in that sector 3 where you're going to see the most improvement because it's so high speed. When you start laying down the rubber in there, it's going to affect the grip a lot more, especially even more than in sectors 1 and 2.
It's a thing that on this track, I think the track limits are a little bit more strict, if you see what I mean. That's why so many drivers do, like, you know, kind of get their laps invalidated from time to time, because, well, it's so easy to get out of the track, but also at the same time, I feel like they are a little bit more strict than other race tracks. I don't think you ever drive this track, so I don't know if you see what I mean. But yeah, it's one of those, you know, it's one of those Paul Ricard on ACC moment where you don't know what you're doing and where exactly the track limits are.
I mean, definitely. I think it's because all these curbs are so flat, and because there's quite a bit of concrete runoff off to the side of most of these tracks. I think there's a lot of temptation to get out really far, and that's probably why all of those little tiny gravel traps are on the exits of most of these corners. I honestly, they don't look big enough to be able to be a reasonable deterrent, but they do tend to be, especially in these hypercars where you get a lot of wheel spin, sort of in the rear wheels that can slow you down quite a bit if you hit one of those. So it does tend to be effective. Again, sometimes I don't completely agree with the placement. I think there definitely should be one right here on this final corner as Jordan Johnson is crossing the line here, and that's another purple sector 3 from a different driver, and that'll put Jordan up to 7th.
So yeah, Jordan Johnson P7, Robbie Kelly still P1. It's quite a change from the first round where Jordan Johnson was, fighting with Robbie Kelly during the qualifying session, and then just, I don't know, is it the lack of training because Jordan Johnson is used to putting up to races and basically not training? Oh, as we see a victim of the gravel trap. Right as we called it, right as we said it, it has to be the commentators' curse.
It truly does. The gravel curse, I would say. 10 minutes left in this qualifying session, so we're 2/3 done. RK still at the top as it stands right now. We have Luis Alfonso still in P2, has not been able to get any closer to that 39.8, but RK also hasn't been able to improve on it, so things are cooling down a little bit in the pole race at the moment, although we have a little bit of movement going on in the mid pack at the moment. So I think everybody who is actually racing today has mostly set a time, it looks like. I think Vossi looks like they're still in the pits at the moment, but we'll see how things shape up. Sarah Van Fiepelen down there in P13 that's Newt getting a mouthful of gravel and is going to have to go back to the pits and get right back out on this outlap. Sierra in the other bluey. This one is the Toyota, it looks like. Nice liveries on these bluey hypercars. I think the hypercars do lend themselves quite well to that jagged teeth front end there. So they do look quite good. Letting the other Toyota by just to make sure that they get set up for that's the Sato of Tyler Van Beek there. Is just trying to get set up and in clear air for the last couple of laps of this session.
You were talking about the hypercars looking good with the bluey liveries. I think it's mainly because the bluey liveries has those, as you said, jagged teeth kind of livery at the front. It's like an open mouth. That's why it looks good. Almost all the hypercars have those the big arrow stuff at the front, so it looks like they have an open mouth. And especially the Toyota. The Toyota looks like it has a little nose, if you see what I mean. It's like a little bit angled. I don't know if I'm maybe rambling too much. Fez, P8 on track. 8 minutes left. Fez
just little bit of a wiggle there. Just skirting the edge of that gravel. That's kind of exactly where you want to place it, and it can be hard sometimes in the cockpits of these hypercars to really get a sense of where your front wheels are, especially depending on sort of where you're placed in the car. But definitely for this one, it looked pretty good. And again, another purple sector 3. They keep coming in.
I think the purple sectors are quite bugged on LMU as we are used to. It's perfect game with no faults whatsoever. Anyways, few corners in on another lap. I'm getting scolded by Denak because I think I just swear it becomes part of my language. Oops, I'm sorry. I was naughty there. I was naughty there. Fastfox cancel his lap. Still going P8 at the moment, stayed in the pits for a bit, went back to pits now. As we see Parker Olson, I see a Toyota behind spinning a little bit. Is it Zion? Yes, this is Zion Stewart that's been just spun behind. Parker Olson, I think, he's going around T11? Is it the correct? Yes, turn 12. Yes, I know the track.
You've done it.
Yes.
Finally figured out where people are. The thing that helps me a little bit as well, and maybe it'll help viewers as well, is Sector 2 tends to have those sort of the end of Sector 1, beginning of Sector 2 has the blue runoff, and then most of Sector 1 and Sector 3 have the orange, and then this red marks the final corner. So that can help a little bit, but yeah, I understand the sort of trackside artwork is sometimes the most that you have to go off of. We're seeing a little bit of movement in the bottom part of the standings at the moment. Sarah Van Peeblink getting up to P10 from P13. She'll be looking to improve in the later stages of this session, but aside from that, she may have her work cut out for her in the actual race. Again, not a lot of overtaking opportunities around here. Definitely, I think, given that it's a technical track, it may just come down to driver skill, who's sort of feeling the most confident around here, and whether you can stick close behind, especially through Sector 3. That'll give you the best chance for setting up a move into 1. So that'll be the name of the game around here, I think. And if you can't get it done into 1, well, you may have to wait behind for longer than you might want to.
It's either going to be the late breakers who can manage to do, that last sector, maybe breaking it, get them set up for the first sector, the big straight, or I'm thinking of the Cadillac, which is one of, I think it's quite a fast car on the straights. So even if the late braking doesn't work, because, well, braking the Cadillac isn't really good, they can still get the car set up for the long straight, since the car is pretty good straight line speed. As we see Parker Olson still P4 going on at the moment, 4 minutes 20 left, almost nice. Robbie Kelly P1, Luis Alfonso P2, Niklas Zan, who closes the podium kind of qualifying going on at the moment.
That's another purple Sector 3. People continue to set it, but also, I think it's where they're losing the time is Sectors 1 and 2. If anybody can hook up a good Sector 1 and 2, I think they have a decent shot at getting pretty high up the order. It does, there's a lot of compromising exits that you need to do here, making sure that you're getting really well set up for, getting nice strong exits onto the few straight parts of this racetrack. Definitely, as we were talking about the sort of the MotoGP profile of track, where you're mostly just turning all the time, and in motorcycles you're sort of able to stay on the power a bit more and definitely go side by side a bit more, especially through the higher speed stuff. As we get this nice trackside shot of RK getting through the second sector here, just looping around this slow speed stuff on the way down to Sector 3. It's looking fairly good at the moment. Not really able to improve too much on the first sector, but only a 10th down, so still some opportunities to get the time going, and that's going to be a purple sector too. So they're now improving on their previous time by just a little bit, and again, just very close, almost in that gravel, but not quite, just skirting the very first few edges of that gravel trap. And around here as well, car looking a little bit wiggly through 15 or 14, excuse me, and no, that was 15. This is 16. Getting on to the final bit, was that maybe just a touch off track? I think they may have just kept it in. And no, it doesn't look like it, so that's going to be an invalidated time. They'll have to go again.
Still a pretty fast Sector 2. As we saw, it was the fastest Sector 2 out of all the drivers. RK, please leave some to the other drivers. Thank you. We know you're fast. As we see, we are switching to Jordan Johnson, so still P7 going on at the moment. It kind of the enemy of RK, not standing wise, but mainly just a mental rivalry that I made in my head since Bahrain. But yeah, it looks like Jordan Johnson still it struggles a little bit to go a little bit faster, especially this in the Lamborghini, which is quite a tricky car to drive. It's not my cup of tea. I did like it when I drove it around Sebring a little bit, but you know, it's definitely a hypercar.
It's a hypercar in all the ways that hypercars tend to be. Very unstable on the rear end there, but that's the way that Jordan tends to like it. So working pretty well for them at the moment. They're up in P7, just ahead of Fezfox in that Hertz Cadillac. So we're not seeing too much movement here at the moment. It looks like just going back to the battles that we've been seeing. This is probably not the qualifying performance that Sarah would have wanted from this one, as we're in the waning seconds of this qualifying session. RK is going to be able to get around one more time, and in fact anybody else who's crossing the line at the moment is going to be able to get around for one more time, which could be a few drivers. It looks like Adrian's going to be able to get around one more time, so we'll see if they're able to pip Parker Olsen. There's only 0.02 of a second between them at the moment for P4 and P5, so we'll have to see how that continues to evolve as we get into the last runners here. Parker is also on a flyer at the moment, set a personal best Sector 1, so could be an improvement from them for the last bit of this session. Still 0.2 adrift of Niklason up there in P3, but considering, depending on how this lap goes, could pip the Toyota.
So a few drivers just finished the qualifying as they are at the pits at the moment. As we see Parker Olsen spinning the rears. I think that's a common thing in the Ferrari. I don't know. I don't drive the Ferrari, but I've heard a few drivers saying that the Ferrari could be sometimes a little bit playful around the back. As we see Adrian Newt still going around the track. I still don't know which corner it is. It is blue, so I guess it's Sector 2, but yeah, no, it doesn't look like there's a lot of movement going on at the moment. And as you said earlier, Sarah is struggling a little bit. Sarah is right behind Sierra Thomas, who changed cars, by the way. Sierra Thomas, who was in the old Peugeot, the 2023 Peugeot, and is now in the Alpine, if I'm not saying anything wrong. Adrian Newt in the last sector, as we see Robbie Kelly AFKing in the pits.
Parked up in the winner's circle there for qualifying.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit too early. Oh, Adrian Newt that cancels his lap. Most of the drivers are in, if not all. Yeah, all the drivers are in, and I think that's gonna close up our qualifying session.
Yep, there we go. So our results are in. It's going to be another poll for RK. That's going to be, I believe, their second in 3 rounds. So Fantastic performance from them in the first couple rounds of this one. We'll get you a grid walk in just a few moments here, but we're getting ready for this race. What are we expecting down into turn 1 on this one?
I'm expecting a lot of carnage. I don't want to play, the commentator's curse going on all over again. But the hypercars are quite a thing for chaos at the start of the races.
Well, the commentator's curse is usually about the opposite of whatever we say happening, so hopefully that means they'll be nice and tidy. So we'll see about it. But yeah, it does kind of look like quite a few of our drivers have done pretty well here as we get you our starting order. So Robbie Kelly again on pole, Luis Alfonso lining up on the front row beside them in P2 in that Toyota. It's an all Ferrari second row with Nicholas Zahn in P3 and Adrian Newt in P4, or Parker Olsen in P4. Adrian Newt there in the Alpine in P5, Eduardo Alvarez in the Toyota in P6. Jordan got that Lamborghini up to P7, so good performance from them. Fez Fox in P8 in the Hertz Cadillac. Sierra in P9 with that Toyota, and Sarah rounding out the top 10 in the Porsche 963. Sixth row, we've got Zezors in P11 in another Toyota, and then Tyler Van Beek in the Asada in P12. Fury April, one of our sort of returning drivers here, P13 in that one, and Blade Wolf in the Peugeot in P14. And then 15th, we've got Jesper in another Ferrari, and Zion Stewart in P16 there. 17th, we've got another Peugeot with JPEG, and then a Valkyrie lining up beside them in P18. Fennekin in P19, and I think that's going to be it for our runners today. We've got 17 drivers out on the grid today, which that's a pretty good turnout, I think, honestly, for Qatar. I was kind of expecting. I think before we went live today. We saw 10 drivers in the initial briefing, and we were thinking, oh, it might not be super great today, but no, I think we've got a strong field here, and lots of drivers who are looking to score good points today. So it should be hard fighting out there.
It's one of those tracks where it's not, it's kind of like Kota. It's not really appreciated by all the drivers because it's, a track that is kind of not interesting to drive. I don't know if it's interesting to commentate on, but it's it's predictable. Let's call it predictable. I just read in the chat talk about the tongue twister from Suzuka, since you were saying all the driver's name at the speed of sound. Have you thought about doing rapping? Is that how we say it in English? I think I'm getting my French and English a little bit twisted up a little bit.
Nah, you got it. I haven't done too many of the grid walks here on Simufur. Usually that's left to somebody else, but I can pull it out when I need to.
I mean, we just saw that. That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even think I did follow up. I did follow up that good the last time.
The field starts rolling here as we're on a short lap, it looks like. They're just coming through, looks like 15 at the moment, and on their way down to the final corner where we're going to get this race started. And yeah, so strong inside corner position for RK up there. Has opted for all hards on this one. So that, or excuse me, has opted for left side hards. Luis Alfonso has a hard just on the front of the left side there. So we've got really kind of a mix of tire strategies. It's really just between whoever wants to opt for both left side hards or just the front right or just the front left, as we are getting rolling here. Eduardo up there in all mediums. So we'll see how the race continues. And that's a green flag. We are getting rolling down onto turn 1. It looked like a pretty good start there from the Luis Alvarez there on the other side, and in fact Alfonso was able to get around for P1. We're going 3 wide into turn 1, and a lot of bumping there from the 3 different Ferraris there, but it looks like everybody's managed to stay on the track. It's been a huge start from Jordan Johnson, who's all the way up into P3, was not able to hang it around the outside there. That might have been an overtake off track. They may have to give that one back, but it looked like a fantastic start there from Jordan Johnson. Johnson in the Lamborghini is clearly driving with anger here, is continuing to get into those gravel traps. And that was a little bit of contact there between the two. That was the Ferrari getting shuffled back a little bit. It looks like everybody's still on the track at the moment, but my goodness, it's been a lot of physical contact here in the first lap.
Yeah, a lot of door banging going on. It's quite surprising the way the sim manages to handle all of that. It looks, I mean, I wouldn't say it looks clean, but it looks way cleaner than what it would be on ACC on iRacing. But yeah, quite a few, you know, trying to barge the way around, because we know the sim won't throw you into the shadow realm once you hit something. No, very good racing, at least for this start of the race. Quite a few position changes, actually, as I'm watching what's happening going on right now. Sarah Van Schipland, I think she lost 2 positions at this start of the race. So started P10.
Started P10.
Now, yeah, went down to P12 as Sierra Thomas. Also lost a position due to I don't think it's Jordan Johnson going forwards, but there was quite a bit of movement. Eduardo Alvarez also P5 going on at the moment. So yeah, quite a lot of movement, quite a lot of door banging, but it's, I guess, for the greater good, especially since this sim supports it.
Jordan there just looking to shape for a defensive shape there, but managed to give the inside to Eduardo Alvarez there. A little bit of a bang again coming through turn 2 into turn 3, and Jordan just letting Eduardo Alvarez know that they are not going to be giving up this position without a fight. They're almost going to be side by side down here into turn 5, and in fact it looks like there's going to be a lot more overtaking opportunities perhaps around this track than I was thinking, but Jordan is starting to hold up a lot of the field here, and Eduardo is driving quite frustrated here, it looks like, especially with that Ferrari looming large in the rear mirror there. It's going to be tough for them. It looks like RK has gotten back around Luis Alfonso. That 3 wide at the beginning of the race was ended up resolving into Alfonso getting into P1 and RK getting shuffled back down into P2, but it looks like RK has reclaimed their rightful position, as that's going to be Eduardo going side by side into the panel of Jordan Johnson there, and the frustration finally coming out into a solid bit of contact that managed to spin them both. So that is going to be both of them getting shuffled quite far down the order there, and that's going to be one for the stewards, I think.
I was about to say it. How are you reading in my mind? Is that how it works right now? So, yeah. I'm a loss of words right now because I was about to say it. So, well, Fastfox now in P5 thanks to the crash that just happened. So Fastfox now in P5, Adrian Newt now in P6, Tyler Van Beek in P7. So everyone took basically 2 positions due to the crash. As we see Fastfox doing a little bit of door banging now with Niklas Zahn, I think? No, with Parker Olsen. So another Ferraris. There's quite a few Ferraris, so excuse me if I get it a little bit wrong. So Pacho and Fastfox fighting for P4 at the moment. Parker also managed to keep the position. I think he was already P4 to begin with. And now Adrian Nudes is looking for maybe trying to get a little bit of Fastfox Cadillac. So trying to share the Kady V8. I don't know what's happening. As Fez goes for a little bit of a dive, trying to attack Parker by the inside a little bit, but doesn't quite work as he slides on the outside, on the exit of the corner. Quite a little bit of drama going on right now.
We have seen in the first few minutes of this race, we have immediately set the vibe. The gloves are coming off for many of our drivers here. It looks like we have a yellow flag at the moment. We'll see if anybody's off at the moment. I think it might be. There's. It looks like Swingley is quite far behind on most of the main pack. So it looks like the flag has been cleared for now. But we've got a big train now forming behind Fez Fox here, who has just managed to pip Nicholas on, in fact, for Parker Olsen for that P4 position. We both keep getting them mixed up. This group has now fallen 5 seconds behind the top 3, so there'll be a little bit of time to make up here for the Hertz Cadillac at the moment, as this is actually going to be looking very, very close here between the two of them. Parker might be looking to get this position back, with Fox sort of drifting a little bit towards the inside of the corner, but eventually decides that they don't need to defend, and in fact they don't need to. So definitely a conservation of movement here. You don't want to compromise any corners that you don't have to, as Sarah's continuing to move up back to where she started with that incident between Jordan and Eduardo Alvarez in the opening stages. So Sarah will be looking to move up through this grid rather quickly. Lots of positions behind, but this is basically a straight line from P10 to P4, so potentially a lot of positions on offer here for the first little bit, as it looks like the two of them are going side by side up in front, and it looks like the Cadillac was just able to manage to keep in front as we are heading on down to Sector 3 with this group.
Very close to each other, as you said. It's a little bit of a train, which means if there's a little bit more drama, if there's a little bit, it gets a little bit too touchy. One crush and it all goes wrong for everyone else behind. In maybe a full course yellow, but I don't think that's gonna happen because we have very good drivers that can keep it on the track, and also we have a sim that manages to keep them on the track, especially.
That's a big face full of gravel for Sarah there, so that will slow her down quite a bit here. Actually, not too much. Was actually able to keep quite a bit of speed on that Porsche, but you definitely want to be careful trying to keep the throttle down when the car is that destabilized. This battle is continuing to go on for another lap. Parker a little bit further behind, I think, than they were on the last lap, so this shouldn't be an opportunity for a move down into here, and indeed it is not, as we are continuing on to the next lap here at Qatar. It's been quite an eventful few, just in the opening stages of this one. Adrian in the Alpine is trying to make up some positions here. I think they're just about where they started in this race somehow between all of the shuffling around that we've seen, and RK has actually not been able to really break free quite yet of the Toyota, still quite close behind. So they're within a second of each other. So Luis Alfonso is going to be looking to turn on the pace here and continue to push RK all the way to the flag, hopefully.
Toyotas and Ferraris, they're kind of two very balanced cars because, well, Toyota has very much all those years to develop the car, and then Ferrari came on and barges in and gets a very good car to begin with, and especially on LMU, those two cars are basically the what do you call the main cars, and maybe the meta cars going on at the moment. So very balanced cars, good almost everywhere, good braking, kind of good straight line, and mostly good ROIs. But as I said earlier, they have some characteristics. Ferrari a little bit too free on the rear sometimes. It gets a little bit too slidey. It likes to be slidey, as we see Zezes talking about Toyota. Zezes in the Toyota, followed by the massive rage of Jordan Johnson driving with all his might, trying to get up some positions. P13 at the moment, Jordan Johnson. Zez is P12, and then there's Eduardo Alvarez in front of Zezes that we don't see at the moment. So it looks like Eduardo Alvarez still has it better off, but yeah, very good fighting from all the drivers, and I think we didn't see, apart from Jordan Johnson and Eduardo Alvarez, we didn't see anyone going very far out of the track. So yeah, no, it's good racing. I like that. So much drama going on.
Here they go side by side, and that's going to be a position for Jordan Johnson. So definitely a little bit of a mistake there, it looked like. Although it looks like they're coming back a little bit, is Zezors, but not able to hang it around the outside there. I think Jordan's probably going to run away at this one. I'm not sure if they're carrying a particularly significant amount of damage. I can just check that right now. It looks like light rear bumper damage for Jordan Johnson at the moment, and for Eduardo Alvarez in front, it's actually a pretty significant amount of both front and rear damage. It looks like we have a DNF, our first DNF of the race. It's Jesper in the 279 Ferrari teleporting back to the pits. So that's going to be an unfortunate end to the Sunday for them. But I'm actually kind of surprised by how little the Jordan. That's Jordan off very, very much. It passed the gravel, in fact, and spun quite significantly there, and is now losing a lot of time. I think they're going to have to try to reverse to get back onto the track here. We may or may not get a replay of that, but it looks like they've just managed to get back out, and they're down to 14th now, so that's going to be another setback, and 15th, in fact.
They don't have
So
a rear wing.
has lost the rear wing completely.
Yes. Yes, they just lost it. Oh, I think that's an end of the race for Jordan Johnson.
That definitely sounds like terminal damage
Yeah.
to me, especially around a track that that is so dependent on rear downforce. So not the day that Jordan would have wanted either. So that's going to be them falling further down the order in a series where they were looking like they were going to be one of the front runners. Very, very close now between Sarah Van Fiepelen and Eduardo Alvarez, fighting it out for P10 at the moment. They're going to continue to go side by side through Sector 2 at the moment, and I think this is just not going to be a good enough opportunity, but sticking right onto the back of that Porsche, practically pushing her through the through these couple of curves here. If they're able to stay this close through Sector 3, they should be able to shake for a move down into turn 1, but the Porsche looking a little bit nervous right now.
Yeah, this is. I'm currently looking at Eduardo Alvarez. So they're now going through so the 12, 13, and 14. You know, the fast corners where they are. Oh, and I just saw Sarah Van Fiepelen going a little bit wide into the gravel just now. So turn 12, 13, 14. Basically, you get quite a bit of aero wash if you stay behind other hypercars. So yeah, you get quite a bit slower depending on if you are in front of behind another cars. We see Eduardo Alvarez maybe getting a little bit of a chance into turn 1. Will we see late braking or not as Eduardo Alvarez brakes? And it didn't quite. That wasn't quite the move, but still stick with it and manages to get in front of Sarah. Nice.
Yeah, very good racecraft from the both of them. I thought that Sarah was going to be able to hang it around the outside there with the very wide exit around here. It actually, you can sometimes make pretty good overtaking moves around the outside of turn 1 at this track, but it was not to be for Sarah, and she's going to be back down to P10 now, with Alvarez promoted up to P9 at the moment. A lot of beneficiaries from all of the incidents sort of at the front of the order at this race. Newt's still kind of stuck up here in P6, but Fezfox is up 4 positions, has had a fantastic race so far, is now sort of sniffing the fringes of the podium at the moment, although they'll have to do probably quite a bit of work to get back up to there, because Zahn looks to be in a little bit of a no man's land at the moment between P2 and P4, so just kind of quietly having a race of their own at the moment. Eduardo is looking to make up another position right now on the Alpine or the Toyota, excuse me, of Sierra Thomas. We'll see how that continues to play out, as Parker is still looking to get this P4 position back from Fez. That's Zion Stewart in the Toyota P4 trying to get things restarted. Looked like just a bit of a spin there. Is the last of our remaining runners in P, or excuse me, the second to last of our remaining runners in P14, and Parker giving Fezfox the flash now as it's this fight is continuing to heat up.
And behind, Eduardo Alvarez just overtook Sierra Thomas, so fighting into the first few corners and stuff, almost catching Tyler Van Beek, who took 5 positions. I think for now it's the highest position gain of all the race. And what I call, he's in what I call the little isote that could, because it wasn't a fast car in real life. It's a small team, so it kind of makes sense. But on LMU, it's a very much a liked car, even with its driving. It's apparently slidey on the rear, but in a good way, not like the Ferrari, which is like kind of oversteery depending on the corners. Talking about Ferraris, we see Ferry April getting chased by Sarah Van Fiepelen because, well, Ferry just overtook Sarah. Wait, hold on. Oh, okay, that's actually... I wasn't expecting that much racing going on on this track. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's been really great so far between everybody pretty much. Yeah, speaking of Ferraris and speaking of slides, because those tires do look a little bit overheated for Fury April. But yeah, this 3-car fight here. We're seeing a lot of movement within this train as drivers are rather impatient to get around each other, and it's sort of begun to break up this little group here that previously was sort of P4 to P10, P11, and they've spaced out a little bit more. They've gotten a little bit more separated, but for this group here, they're still sort of looking for any opportunity that they can. As that's Eduardo Alvarez getting very, very close now to the back of the Asada. In fact, they're going to go a little bit side by side here on their way down to turn 2. That's not really going to be a great opportunity for Eduardo, but they're just going to be looking to get as good of an exit as they can because they may be able to shake for something down into here. Looks to be a little bit too close, but the braking on that Toyota was too good. In fact, it looked like as that's going to be a little bit of a setback there for Eduardo, and that's going to be promoting 3 different drivers up to further positions here. But yeah, the braking force on that Toyota, in fact, catching the driver out a little bit there.
Eduardo still catching it back, still setting him quite a few positions behind. No biggie though, he's a fast driver as we saw during the qualifying. But yeah, I'm gonna do my MNU nerd emoji of the race. Virtual energy moment, because we didn't talk about that. We were talking about pits and stuff. So as of now, it looks like around, I'd say 66% for almost every driver. So I think we're gonna have to see some pits. I don't think there's saving involved in this race, especially due to the fast corners left and right and such. Yeah, no, we should be expecting some pits, at least maybe a little gulp at the end of the race, but yeah, some pits to be expected end of race.
Yeah, just a little sip, a good 8-ounce glass of water, I would say, to get to the end of this one. That's Sarah Van Fiepelen getting around the outside of Fury April, just as we were talking about how that outside line could work really well. And that's a bit of a bump between them. I think Fury was looking to turn in for the apex there and wasn't quite aware that they weren't clear of Sarah. That's going to give Eduardo Alvarez a little bit of a look here as they are continuing to go side by side. Fury is continuing to fight this. Through the inside here, they are still side by side, and I think that Ferrari is just going to manage to get out in front. But no, it's the Toyota that's going to be able to just cut back through and get on the brakes there. That strong braking, and that was a little bit of an instability there from the Toyota, and that's going to shuffle both of them backwards. And I think we've been seeing that a lot in this race. Drivers really, really willing to go side by side for many, many corners in a row, but not able to sort of stay in control sometimes when they're trying to take those outside lines. It can be really helpful to sort of practice the overtaking lines around this track. Sometimes drivers like to do the drills where they'll drive the entire track pretending to have a car on the inside or the outside of them, just so that they can get a feel for the braking points and the lines when they have a car next to them. But that's going to be this group shuffled quite far back now from the rest of them. The Zizors, the Toyota Zizors, promoting up into P10, but now this entire group is 3 seconds away. 7 seconds away, in fact.
40 minutes. No, I wasn't about to say 40 seconds. 40 minutes left. So we're seeing still a fight going on for P1 and P2 with Robbie Kelly and Luis Alfonso, as we see Eduardo Alvarez going on the outside of Zez's, getting a little bit touchy on the rear. So yeah, P1, P2, Robbie Kelly, Luis Alfonso still fighting each other a little bit. They are within 2 seconds of each other. Then there's a little trade between, there's Niklas Zahn in P3, and then there's the little train of S. Fox, and I think closing in with Newt. Then there's Tyler Van Beek and Sierra Thomas, and then I think there's the whole little train basically behind Tyler Van Beek. The whole group we did see with Zez's, Fury April, Eduardo Alvarez. There's all that fighting, all those little groups with Arcade that went out of track, and May. Hold on. Luis, what's happening? Robbie's woo. Okay, hold on. So Robbie's third, Niklas just overtook Robbie, and then it did promote Luis Alfonso in P1.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of a mistake there from Arke, so they're shuffled back to P3 now, and Nicholas on in front of them now in the Ferrari. Arke is also the most fuel hungry out of the top runners here, and in fact out of pretty much the entire field. So they're probably going to have to pit first as well. It's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle now for Arke, but that does mean that Luis Alfonso is in a really strong position in this race now. Nice clear air, and Nicholas on is still 10 seconds behind. So this is just going to be a nice little cruise here for Luis, at least in this phase of the race. We'll see how things continue to shake out as Fury April becomes the first of our pitters. We saw some people go for this strategy earlier of pitting earlier to take up a sort of full 100% fuel load, and then run in clear air as much as you can to try to make up that time. But we've seen it with mixed results before, especially in the Bahrain round. But we'll see how it works out for Fury.
I don't know how it's gonna work out. I mean, I know you get the clean air, but at the same time you lose the suck in the straight lines, and you also get quite a bit of traffic depending on where the car is and where the slower cars are. But yeah, still Fez Fox, Parker Olsen still fighting with each other going on at the moment. There's still that little train going on. Fez Fox, Parker Olsen, and Newt. I think Fez has some damage, and Parker as well, but Newt is all clean, and Newt is catching Parker Olsen.
Yeah, I think that's probably just going to be a matter of time at this point, especially with the damage that Parker is carrying at the moment. We'll see if they're able to defend at all, as it looks like quite a few folks getting around that slower Peugeot there on the exit. I think that may have been a blue flag for one of our drivers down there, as Tyler Van Beek is continuing to circulate. That was a bit of a lockup there, in fact, from Tyler Van Beek, and that's going to give an opportunity. And that was a bit of a bump there between the two of them, and the Toyota of Sierra Thomas still trying to get around, but that's going to give an opportunity for Sarah Van Fiepelen behind, as is usual in three-car battles. You want to be in that third position to make sure that you can capitalize on any sort of weirdness going on up front. Sierra is still quite close though to the back of Tyler Van Beek. Looks like they were just able to fight off Sarah Van Fiepelen, almost going into the back, it looked like. But this group is getting quite spicy now, because the Toyota of Eduardo Alvarez is now creeping up behind. So what was a three-car battle may become a four-car in not too long here. In fact, it already has.
As we see a Peugeot going out of track on right behind, I think that was JPEG Fox. So Sarah maybe throwing hands with Sierra at the moment. So side by side, as I see going through the next corner, Sarah's gonna have the outside, maybe try the switchback, but quite doesn't work because there's quite a few corners. That's the three corners part we were talking about earlier. So to 12, 13 and 14 as Sarah goes in the gravel and lets Eduardo Alvarez go past. So now it's a duel between Eduardo Alvarez and Sierra Thomas. I'm not expecting much fight going on actually, because maybe Sierra is gonna defend against Eduardo Alvarez, but as we saw earlier, Eduardo Alvarez is the faster driver out of them two, maybe with a little bit more experience, and yeah, that might be a quick overtake. Actually, let's throw some bets, not actual bets, but Eduardo, which position do you think Eduardo's gonna end in?
How far do I think he's going to be able to fight up? I mean, started around like P7, I think. So it could be back up to there. But I think Sierra is going to defend this really, really hard, and in fact is beginning to through Sector 3 right now. And I mean, that's Eduardo's just going to have to stay behind now at the moment and sort of pick their moment as we're heading up into. Excuse me, this is Sector 2 now that we're heading through. They just went through the hairpin of Turn 10, so it's going to be really, really close between the two of them. And again, the really, really heavy braking there on that Toyota is really helping them out. But this is Toyota on Toyota at the moment, so straight fight in equal machinery. We'll see how this ends up. But if I'm Sierra at the moment, I mean, this is a fantastic position to be in, I think, and you don't want to start falling into the clutches of the two cars behind. And I think, really, at this point, this is kind of the first time that they've really had clear air in a little bit here. So definitely want to hold on to it as much as they can.
Oh, Sierra touched the gravel a little bit, but yeah, P8's a very good position for Sierra, who was in the Peugeot, so the 2023 Peugeot. The Toyota really does wonders, to be fair, looking at how it goes right now. So 4 cars on a straight. And now Parker also, all of a sudden, boom. So it's still Fast Fox, Parker Olsen, and Engine News. It's still that little bit of a train. I don't know if they're around the same pace, or if it's just the fact that Fez is trying to defend with his life. I think it's more of the fact that they are kind of the same pace, and maybe a little bit of aero wash from Fez's first position in the train. But yeah, no, it looks like maybe sometime Adrian Newt could maybe see a little bit of a gap and go for it. I'm not going to quote that famous quote because I think everyone knows it. And boom, Eduardo Alvarez, Sierra Thomas, we follow now the other train going on. Sierra still in front.
Yeah, this 4-car battle here continues to be a 4-car battle. In fact, Tyler Van Beek has not been able to break away from these 3 cars behind, so it's still continued to be a bit harrowing here for them. But that was a bit wide for Eduardo there. Might be just trying a different line to see if they can make something work, try to get a little bit of momentum up to Sierra Thomas. And I think we're now seeing the Qatar effect in full swing here at the moment, because it's been several laps now with Eduardo behind, and clearly kind of looks like the faster Toyota out of this group, but is still not able to get around. Quick update on the top 3 at the moment. RK is continuing to claw back time from Luis Alfonso, has gotten that gap from 10 seconds down to 8.3, and is now building a gap to Nicholas Zahn in P3. So was first able to get around Zahn for P2, and now is pushing in clear air to try to make something happen here. But this group is going to go around for yet another lap in the way that they are line astern.
So many trains. I think, like you just said, it's a little bit of the Qatar effect, where basically, yeah, you get stuck behind someone because of the aero wash. You basically need that clean air for the car to have all the grip, all the necessary grip to get through all those corners. So Eduardo Alvarez was maybe looking on the inside of Sierra, and Sierra who's also attempting to overtake the little Isota that could. Sierra who spun with Sarah behind. Jesus, okay, wow. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. So Sarah has just had a massive reaction time. Well, not massive, that's quite the opposite actually, who managed to avoid Sierra Thomas. I was expecting the Porsche to glide after that big turn, but no. So yeah, Eduardo Alvarez, who now tries to follow and maybe attack the little Isota that could, going through the end of the sector 2, and maybe see what's going to happen on the next straight.
Fantastic avoidance from everybody involved there, I think. But honestly, at a certain point, I kind of think that they just got lucky, to be quite honest, because it kind of looked to me like the Toyota of Sierra Thomas just kind of fit right in the gap between the two of them as they were going sideways. And obviously, at that point in the spin, you're kind of just a passenger in the car, so there wasn't really anything that Sierra could have done to reduce the risk of contact there. But thankfully, everybody was able to get through, and Eduardo not able to get the move done in turn 1, but is still really, really close behind, and very clearly wants this position as well. It looks like we're going through turn 3 right now. They may be able to try it, and I think they were ducked out for just a moment there before deciding better of it. I think they're probably just going to have to follow in the wheel tracks here at the moment. A little bit of a tap. Again, the brakes on that Toyota a little bit better, in fact, than the other cars around here. That's the Yasada going wide on the exit there, but a really, really nervous moment there from the Toyota is going to give Sarah an opportunity now. So what could have been a gain in position might turn into a loss of position. They're continuing to go side by side through this corner, but I think Sarah's just going to back out here and recognizes that if she loses too much time, they are going to lose the Yasada in front. So just willing to work with them a little bit here and make sure that this whole group stays together.
It's the game and the series that keeps on giving. There's so much fighting going on because there's a lot of people on very similar paces. It's less esportsy than ACC or any. I mean, I guess I could say also iRacing, but I don't play iRacing a lot, so I'm sorry for the iRacing players.
Yeah, you should be sorry.
Oh wow, wow. So DNF updates. We have now 3 DNFs. So we have Zion Stewart. We have still Jordan Johnson after the loss of his rear wing. And then Jesper Swingley, who I saw in the chat was saying that didn't... who... I'm getting lost here, I'm sorry. Woo! So much things happening, so many things happening, I'm getting confused, I'm sorry. I'm giving it back to you, Kady.
No worries at all. We got 14 cars still circulating now at the Losail International Circuit, down from our starting of 17. So is this the most DNFs that we've had? I'm not sure how many folks finished Circuit of the Americas, but yeah, this is definitely looking like this battle is continuing to heat up here. Sarah's still looking for any opportunity to get around, and I think she might have finally gotten it here. Gets the inside for this mid-speed one here, but Eduardo is still able to... In fact, that's going to turn into 2 positions now for Sarah. Oh, fantastic move from the two of them. Wow. That was a beautiful double overtake there from Sarah, and I think that might have been assisted by Tyler just getting maybe a little bit loose in the Asada there. Fantastic work from Sarah, and she has clear air to push now.
I'm sorry, I'm getting stuck on something else. I might have news coming soon. I have to give it back to you. I'm so sorry because I'm doing race control stuff going on. I have race control stuff going on at the moment, but you may have not good news, but you may have news going on soon.
We'll stand by for that, I suppose. RK is now down to 7 seconds now between the two of them, so just steadily continuing to bring down that gap. There's only about 25 minutes left in this race, though, so the time is running out a little bit for RK to get back up there. Might be able to do it, and that's going to be a little bit of an attacking move to the inside of turn 1 for Eduardo Alvarez there, and they're still side by side. I don't think that this is going to be able to turn into a position as they are coming through turn 2, and Tyler's going to back out, or Tyler's going to defend that one pretty well, it looked like. Again, just, you know, that outside line working really, really well defensively for a lot of our drivers around here. It's still very, very close. I have to admire the LMU netcode here for allowing our drivers to follow this closely. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle there. That was quite late braking into the hairpin for Eduardo Alvarez, but they're finally going to be able to get around, and that's going to enable them to be able to push up to a disappearing Toyota, it looks like. Just Tyler going a little bit slowly and wondering where that Toyota went. I think that's going to be a DNF for technical issues there for Eduardo, unfortunately.
So I'm coming back from the race control booth with news. That is actually a disqualification for Eduardo Alvarez. I can't say why at the moment, and I'm not going to speculate at the moment because I don't want to throw fuel on the fire. But yeah, that was a disqualification for Eduardo Alvarez.
Okay, that's interesting to hear. So, we'll keep on that. So, it might have been. It wouldn't have been for track limits, I suppose. That would have been on our server end. So we'll see post race how that works out. Parker getting a little bit off track here, trying to still defend from the Alpine of Adrian Newt, who ducks to the inside here. That's a really brave move from the Alpine, and they're going to just about make it work. It looks like through the high speed. My goodness, shoving the Ferrari off a little bit there. I don't know if Newt's gonna want to give that position back, or feels like they have to give that position back. But that was really tough racing. We don't really see very many overtakes through Sector 3, but that was quite interesting there between the two of them.
I think so. Let's get a little bit of an update because there's still Luis Alfonso in P1. Looks like Robbie Kelly doesn't quite manage to follow Luis Alfonso. Luis Alfonso is still in the clean air, but Robbie Kelly is in the clean air as well. Same goes for Niklas Zahn. But I don't know. I think they're doing quite of the same pace together, even though last lap was a faster lap for Robbie Kelly. We still see Robbie Kelly being behind and struggling quite a bit to catch back to Luis Alfonso. So yeah, it's quite difficult for Robbie Kelly that spun earlier, and I think he might be getting a little bit frustrated with himself, saying that he loses because, well, sometimes that just happens, but last race he lost because of the virtual energy, and now he kind of loses first position because of a self-inflicted error, kind of. It's quite sad to see, but I know he's capable of much more, and maybe he's going to catch back in the next few races.
It's tough to maintain the level of concentration that you need to drive these cars for an hour straight. So I am absolutely sympathetic even to our best drivers around here. Adrian Newt is still has dropped back a bit from Fez, but was able to still get around the Ferrari there of Parker Olsen. So is continuing to push up and is looking to get this P4. I think that's probably about the last position that Adrian can hope for in this race, given that Niklas Zahn is about 6 3/4 seconds up the road. We can confirm that the disqualification for Eduardo Alvarez there was shown the black flag. So unfortunate. Don't really want to see it, but we'll get an update to you once the stewards have just confirmed to us why that was given out. So as we're continuing around here at Qatar, we have 13 cars still in the running. And it looks like a lot of our groups have sort of broken up quite a bit. So finally, we may be able to catch our breath here in the commentary booth, because it's been a lot more eventful than I honestly thought it was going to be.
Yeah, everyone is starting to space themselves from each other. I think the closest is Newt and Fox, as we see what's going on at the moment. So yeah, no, we can catch a little breath, see what's happening. And since we are, as you said, catching a little breath, I'm still going to talk and go over the virtual energy. 24% for the leader going on at the moment. I'd say an average of 25, 26 for almost every driver. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be a pit, maybe between the last 10 minutes or maybe the last 5 minutes.
The last 5 minutes would be really ambitious, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean the gap is quite far. I think it's about stabilized at this 8 seconds here. So. Up at the top of the order, it's looking like it's gonna be a pretty clear win for Luis Alfonso, unless of course there's a major mistake made. We still have pit cycles to go through, of course. So it also depends on whether folks feel like they want to take tires along with their fuel. I think everybody who's running is running those left side hards. So I don't think that anybody should. I don't think that anybody should be taking tires around here just to be able to save themselves time, especially because, I mean, if you're still running on old tires in the last, few minutes of a race, it's probably not going to affect you too much. If Alfonso can finish ahead of RK in this race, they'll still be second in the standings, but the gap will be down to just 4 points between them at the top of the leaderboard. And for being halfway through, and going to some circuits where it's also qualifying is really key, especially around Fuji, which is our next venue for the Hypercar Championship. It's going to be really important for each of those two cars to be able to qualify well and finish well if they want to hold on to what they got.
Honestly, I'm looking forward to Spa. I'm quite biased, but I'm looking forward to
Hey,
Spa.
me too.
Right after Fuji. But yeah, I'm expecting a good racing from the next 3 tracks. I don't know about Fuji because I don't think I've ever done hypercar racing around Fuji. But I know for a fact that Spa, because Spa is Spa, Spa always gives good racing. Yeah. But I'm also interested in the Patreon vote, which is the last race. So round 6 is going to be the Patreon vote. And the Patreon vote is Sebring. And Sebring in the hypercars. I like Sebring from the get-go, GT3 and MP2s to begin with. But in the hypercars, I think it's going to give very good racing, especially since the first corner is going to give so much chaos. Like fast first corner, a little bit like Qatar here. So fast first corner and all. So yeah, Adrian Newt P5, Fez Fox P6. Still a little bit of a breathing room as we see Adrian Newt braking for the first corner. This track has a lot of trail braking involved because you need a car to rotate. So this was T2 and then third corner, really light corner, really fast turn, and then braking hard for a very long but 90-degree corner. Same goes for turn 5, and then the hairpin, and I think the one of 2 hairpins, depend on what you call a hairpin. So turn 6, then going to turn 7, which is like almost a 180 corner, but still quite long as are almost all of the corners here. We just saw turn 8 and then now turn 9 going to turn 10 and slowly going on into the end of this sector 2 and at the end of turn 12, 13 and 14 entering into the sector 3.
Yeah, it's a tough track to get a handle on. I think all our drivers have done a really good job so far. I think Robbie Kelly has actually gotten the gap down to 5.5 seconds with 15 minutes left in the race. I think it may be that I'm seeing some pretty strong fuel saving at the moment from Luis Alfonso, honestly. So I don't know if they're planning on just running they can't run to the end of this one because they only have generously 5 laps of fuel left. That's going to run out in the next minute 40 lap times. That's going to run out with so they're going to have to pit with 5 minutes left in the race. It's a really awkward time to have to do it, but I mean, that's the way that it goes sometimes, especially with whatever amount of fuel saving that you were doing. I wonder if any of these drivers might have thought that they might have been able to get away with a nose stop. Definitely in the case of Fez in P4 is currently at 18%, and I think that's the most topped up out of Parker down in P10 is at 21% right now. Is just crossing the line with 6 laps left to go. So we'll see if anybody's really able to eke one out. I think it would be a really, really hard sell at this point in the race. But yeah, it's going to be basically sort of a mad dash to the pits in the last 5-6 minutes of this one, and then we'll have to see how things end up after the pit cycle is complete. It may get very, very chaotic very quickly. Bit of a wiggle.
Yeah, a bit of a. Which corner was it? That was one of those. I think that was 13, was it? Between 14 and 15. Sorry. But yeah, I'm looking at the fuel saving going on at the moment. And yeah, as you said, there's quite a few minutes left, depending on the driver. Robbie Kelly just went down to 9%, I think, which is the lowest. It's the only red I see on my screen. But Fast Fox is the interesting one because he still manages to save fuel despite fighting with Adrian Newt. But I'm not sure if he will be able to fuel save as much as before, because Adrian Newt is catching 0.2 behind, and Adrian Newt is slowly looking up to overtake. So it's got to force Fez to consume more fuel, more virtual energy. So I think Fez, okay, listen to this. Fez, pit, 1 minute left. I'm calling it. Fez, pit, 1 minute left.
At that point, like, I mean, I guess you kind of have to, because otherwise you'll get the stop go. But I mean, that would be absolutely wild. You wouldn't even at a certain point. It's like if your tires are going to cool down while you're trundling down the pit lane, it almost might be worth it to just try to pit like now, or maybe even a little bit earlier, just to make sure that like you can get back up to speed before the end of the race. And I mean, we could see some undercuts towards the end. It's getting down into the last couple of laps now for our front runners at the very least. It looks like RK has just about a lap less of fuel than Luis, so they may be able to play into that slightly and get that undercut done. I'm not really entirely sure how powerful the undercut tends to be around Qatar. I have to imagine with the the really, really long front straight, as well as the time that it takes to warm up the tires, along with the fact that a lot of these corners are really, really grip limited. It could be a really, really good call, but we'll see how RK handles it, as the gap is now below 4 seconds. It would have to be a hell of an undercut, I will say, as that's our first pitter. That's Nicholas Zahn in P6 right now, in the Ferrari, was in P3. So we'll keep an eye on where they end up. They're in 7th right now, might lose one more. They're not going to, because that's going to be Sierra. Sierra's coming down right now, and Zuzor's in P9 is pitting as well. So I think here come all the pits.
The refueling depends a lot on how many percent you just put in the car. So basically, it's a little bit of, if you misjudge it, you lose quite a bit of time. So Niklas Zahn is now at 24% virtual energy, which I don't know if it's too much or no. I think it's a tad bit much. So if it's a tad bit much, they will lose a little bit more time, depending on how the BOP is for the Ferrari, because the virtual energy is also a BOP meter. And yeah, Parcho pitted and apparently lost 2 positions to Sierra Thomas and Niklas Zahn, because they had a very slow stop, which I guess it's down to maybe the repairs. No, they didn't have any repairs. But I guess it's down to the virtual energy then. Virtual energy is quite slow. It's not only fuel, but yeah, it's quite slow, especially in this game.
RK's pulling out of the pit lane right now, so we'll see how that continues. Sierra has not stopped yet, so we'll continue to see here. That's RK getting to the end of the pit lane now, has been passed by that sort of group up in front. And I think Luis Alfonso is going to have to come in at the end of this lap. I would be very, very surprised if they didn't. They're doing a lot of fuel saving right now, actually. They have about 1.2 laps of fuel left, and they're just coming into Sector 3 right now. I think it's just going to be a little bit too much to ask to go for one more lap. So I think this is going to be the pit lap for Alfonso, and we'll see where RK ends up in relation to them. It looks like a decent outlap right now, but we'll see how it develops.
I think RK has put too much virtual energy as well. 35% on my HUD right now. 35% for 10 minutes, I think it's quite a bit much. It's quite too much.
Yeah, it's for 10 laps. I don't think this race is going to go for another 10 laps, so that may have been a little bit of a mistake there. But it's so hard to judge sometimes, like how much exactly you're filling up. That's Luis in the pits right now. We'll see how much they end up filling out. This is RK's. Where is RK on the track right now? RK's coming up to Sector 3 right now, sort of through those three right-handers. So it's going to be at least 30 more seconds or so before they are able to get back out on track. Luis Alfonso is getting out into the pit exit right now, so I think they're going to be able to hold on to this P1. This virtual P1, of course, as the other two need to fill up. And Luis only taking 25% there rather than the 35% that RK took. So that's going to spread out the gap quite a bit more.
I think we can now confirm it. There's definitely not enough for Fez to go for other laps. So he'll have to go back into the pits. But I think the same goes for Adrian Newt, which is, I think he's at 3%. I'm looking at Fez going on. I'm looking at Fez at the moment. Fez has to go very slowly through the corners to avoid consuming too much virtual energy. And I think Adrian Newt also has to follow in and not attack because he's at 2% now. I think this lap is going to be a pit lap for them too. So I think we'll see a pit fight right in maybe 2 seconds. As it
may get very awkward between the two of them, although I'm not sure if Fez is going to have enough to go around one more time. It's 1.2 laps right now, 1.0. I think unless they did a lot of fuel saving for the next one, it's probably just a bit too much. So they're both going to peel in now. They're side by side going into the pit lane. That was Fez crossing the white line a little bit aggressively there. I think they were just trying to let Newt through at that point, through the pit lane. I'm not sure if that's going to give an unsafe pit entry or not. I'm not sure how this particular game tracks that. Both of them are in right now. They'll have to watch out to make sure that they don't have any issues there. And Zuzor is going off the track there. It looked like quite a spin from both of them. So just getting back out onto the track right now. Newt's going to stay ahead of Fez Fox.
Yeah, I think that's a confirmed position as of now. I don't know if it's only because of the... I wonder if it's not because of the game. Basically, the game that has given Fez Fox a warning that he would have a little bit of a penalty if he wouldn't slow down because he cut the entry line. So he had no choice than to slow down, and basically Adrian Newt had to take the overtake there because he's allowed to overtake there. As we see the Ferrari of Parker Olson sliding at the exit of that corner, so Zez is following Parker Olson. There's a bit of a fight going on with them two at the moment. Sierra is opening that train in front of Parker Olson, and looks like an easy overtake for Zezes. I'm pretty much surprised that Zezes can overtake that easily. Is Pacho saving? I think Pacho is saving again, so Pacho has 7%. Apparently there could have been a contact maybe that was to give the position back after the contact, but I'm also thinking it's a little bit to save fuel because 7% with 6 minutes left, it's definitely not enough to go and finish the race.
Yeah, usual fuel consumption around here has been around 3.3%, 3.4% per lap. Last lap for Parker was 2.7. So I think they're trying to eke it out. I really don't think it's going to be possible. Hasn't been a super great day for Parker today. Started in P4, of course, and is kind of languishing down in P10 at the moment. So not where they would have wanted to end up after this one. But I think sort of the most that they can. It's almost a free pit stop between them and Blade Wolf down in P11 with the gap being so large between them. So I don't really even think that they really need to do this much. But yeah, 7.5 seconds now between Luis Alfonso and RK. So with 5 minutes left, that would have to be over a second a lap to close down that gap, and then you would have to overtake. So I can't imagine that that's going to happen. It's been a really, really strong day from Luis, just fighting for that P1 from the very beginning, pretty much, and has been really, really strong throughout this one. Capitalized on basically that one mistake that RK made the entire race, which ended up unraveling it for them. So unfortunate day for RK, but really, really good day for Luis Alfonso today.
Something very interesting for the drama lovers here on the stream. There's a snap just got a drive through, and I don't even know why. I don't know if it's because of the pitting. I think it could be because of the pitting, but I just noticed it. Anyways, Parker also pitting. No choice than to lose all those positions. That hurts, seeing that he's on the exit now, and I think he's gonna be clear of Blade, which is basically behind position-wise. So yeah, it looks like he's clear in P10, but that must hurt the ego. I'm not gonna lie. I think that would frustrate me very much.
Well, that's everybody in, so everybody's taking a pit cycle now, and I think the reason why Parker is so far down the order is because that was their second pit stop of the day. They were the only one out of the entire grid to have to pit twice, so that'll definitely do it. Nicholas Zahn is still circulating out there in P3. In fact, has got 2.3 laps left. That may be enough to finish, but I'm not 100% sure at this point. I think it would have to be a quite a saving job. But they've been saving quite a bit basically since the end of this one. If Luis's energy is anything to go off of, it probably won't be enough. But I honestly think that Luis Alfonso also might have fueled too much, because they have 4.1 laps left. I think there might be generously 3 laps left in this race. Could be 2 depending on how much Luis Alfonso slows down towards the end, if they are able to cross the line for an extra lap. But I think it's either going to be 2 or 3 left.
Well, yeah, depending on the position, that means Adrian Newt could be P4, or if Niklas has to pit, that would give the position to Adrian Newt, but I think also Fox and Sarah behind. Well, no, Sarah's 21 seconds behind, so never mind. But yeah, as we see, Fox overtaking blue flags. I think that is Blade Wolf's car. Yep. And well, yeah, that has been quite eventful race. I wasn't expecting that going on for the race, but yeah, Qatar has given us very good racing. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, things have calmed down a bit in the closing stages here, as the field is basically entirely spread out at this point, but lots of overtaking action in the first really like 30 to 40 minutes of this one. Yeah, I can't help but think that Nicholas Zahn might have miscalculated the fuel on the pits here, because they do only have 1 lap left, and I think this race is going to go at least 2 more. It looks like Luis Alfonso is going to be crossing the line in a few seconds time here. It might actually just be 1 more lap, but again, I mean, it's Nicholas Zahn is on 1.2 laps right now, so if it's 1 more lap, it might be really, really tough to get to the line. We'll see what happens.
I think that's gonna be very short. So Luis Alfonso crossing the line, P1, that has to be the last lap, followed by Robbie Kelly, 5 seconds behind. And then, as we talked just now, Niklas Zahn, 20 seconds behind Luis Alfonso. 3%. And they chose to not go back into the pits. So that will be their last lap. And they are, I can tell you, they are massively lift and coasting. They have no choice. But behind, there's the Newt threat. Newt has enough fuel to act as a missile, basically. So we have a Blue E chasing a Cabal driver. I don't think they will be fighting at the end of the lap still, because there's still too much of a gap. But that might be interesting depending on if something goes wrong. Who knows?
Coming through, not even really in Sector 2 right now, is Niklas Zahn and has 0.6 laps remaining. So yeah, there is a lot of fuel saving going on right now, and you can just see the gap coming down between them and Newt, basically. Like, pretty precipitously, honestly. It's down to 2.8 seconds now, and if Zahn has to slow down a lot towards the end of the lap, which it's looking more and more like they're going to have to, 0.3 laps right now, 1.2% energy remaining. It's going to be real close. A few corners left. And that's going to be Luis Alfonso crossing the line in P1 right now, seeing the checkered flag. RK in P2, but I am still looking at the fuel gauge for Niklas Zahn. Is just trying to tap on that thing to make sure that it's going to stay above where it needs to be, and the gap is going to stay above where it needs to be for Niklas Zahn to cross the line in P3 with 0.4% virtual energy remaining.
Impressive. That was impressive. That was just on the line. Honestly, I was expecting maybe the penalty to come on, as I saw the 0.1 laps on the ref counter and such, but no, they managed to do it. As we see, sorry, I'm skipping all of that because I'm talking to myself now. So we just saw Sarah van Pimplant in P6, Fox in P5, Adrian Newt in P4. Tyler Van Beek now in the little Isota that could, as I like saying, in P7, and then so crossing the line, and then Sierra Thomas. I can't say the gap because the gap is bugged when a driver crosses the line. So now Sierra Thomas in P8, followed in P9 with Zezas. Parker Olson in P10, Blade Wolf in P11, Fury April in P12, and JPEG in P13. Everyone is in the pits. I'm gonna give it back to Kady.
And yeah, so we had the disqualification of Eduardo Alvarez and the DNFs of Stewart, Johnson, and Swingley. So not everybody finishing this one, but yeah, wild one. Strong performance for Sarah today, getting up to P6 from P10, and really strong for Newt as well. I think they'll be happy with that finish up in P4. Again, I think they were really hoping that Niklas Zahn was going to run out of fuel before the end of that one, but they'll settle for the P4 there. And yeah, I guess one of the configurations of podiums that I may have been expecting for this race, but yeah, it actually ended up being a really fun one. I was not expecting this from Qatar today, but you know, thank you for everybody who is watching along as well, which is you know, I know that not everybody it's not everybody's favorite track, and I know that you know, we had a little bit of a lower participation today, but I hope and I think that we still gave you a lot of fantastic racing action today. So thank you.
I think the commentary was on par. I'm throwing myself some flowers there. You know, the commentators. I think they deserve a little bit of a pat on the back, even though I think we do great.
You know, I'm not. I never come out of a weekend thinking that we did a bad job or anything like that. So you know, happy to have you alongside as well. It's great. So yep, servers closed. We're we're all done with Qatar. I think we're going to try to load up some replays for you as we are sort of getting into here. And I think the one that we're going to go back to is going to be the crash from Jordan Johnson. I think is what we're going to come up with. One of two crashes. I don't know exactly which one it's going to be. It may be the one that caused the DNF. Would be my guess, because we did see that incident live. And I mean, I don't know if that's what they were disqualified for, but I mean, what was your take on that?
I don't know. I'd say actually I don't really know. I'd say usually if you disqualify someone, that's usually because of drivers driving standards. But I don't really get a clear picture of what happened, even though I'm a steward. But since I'm in the commentary booth this time, I didn't get a clear view of what's happening. But if someone wants to see what's gonna happen, you can join the Simufur Discord, and it's gonna be all in the stewarding channel. Please don't do too much drama, though. Thank you. I'm gonna pass it on for Kady, since the replay is gonna be ready
In just a few moments here we are. So yeah, this is going to be the second crash then. This was Jordan down in P12, and yeah, just running way too much over that gravel trap, upset the car, and just went the wrong way into that barrier there, and managed to lose the front wing. I actually, I don't really see too often like just the top part of that front wing coming off, because it looked like the swan necks on either side actually stayed on, the sort of like the structures that hold up the rear wing, but it was just sort of that top part, which of course is the most important part. And yeah, after that, just had absolutely no grip, and needed to get back to the pits. That's pretty typical of a, but was actually able to drive back into the pits, did not need to teleport. So at least that was available to them at the end of that lap. But yeah, really, really tough day for Jordan today. I think they would have wanted a lot more out of today, especially after that really fantastic race start. And yeah, I mean, they were going really, really hard at each other for the last, couple of laps before that sort of precipitating incident. And Jordan in particular was, defending really hard, and that's bound to cause some frustration. So hard racing. It's it's what we like to see here, but it happens sometimes, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm really surprised at how Jordan Johnson lost the car. He's usually driving the Audi on ACC. He's used to those kind of cars with a light rear, and yeah, no, that's still quite surprising. I don't know how he lost the car. Maybe that's because of the sand he went on, not the sand, but the kitty litter. But yeah, still pretty surprising for such a driver.
Yeah. Well, great weekend today, and thank you all for joining us for this edition of the Simufur Hypercar Championship. We'll have points to you at the very least by probably the next race, where we're going to Fuji. Right by the mountain. It's a fantastic venue. It's one of my favorites in the world, and I think it's rendered exceedingly well in this game. So it'll be really, really fun, and we'll see you then. But for now, good night.
Good night.